because there's an instant increase in kapha in your body. That's why you feel sleepy. Most of the people have a lot of excessive Vata in their body, yeah, because of excessive use of coffee, excessive use of chocolates, excessive use of certain kinds of drugs like marijuana. In fact, Ayurveda says that if you do preventive healthcare, then you will not land up in a hospital. So when the other person is shouting at you, that is a reflection of what they don't like in themselves. Love is being there no matter what.
Stale food, keeping it in the fridge and eating it, cooking
Is
for a
the
week.
worst form of diet.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Health Tips podcast, and we are back with Siddharth Gupta, there's a lot of demand for more talk on cancer and diabetes, because these are some of the things which are really affecting people right now. So we decided to go more in depth. We had done it in a previous episode, and I will link up to that right above. But let's go more in depth into cancer and diabetes, because some of it is connected at the root level of metabolism. Siddharth, welcome to the show, and let's start talking more, because we got so many questions and so much of interest about cancer and diabetes. So let's focus on that in this episode and tell people how to avoid it, how to be careful about it, and maybe how to cure it. So let's start with why do we get a disease?
I think before I get to this point, I would like to explain a very simple way to look at what disease is. If there is a leak in a boat, if you keep throwing away the water, the boat wouldn't sink, but you'll have to keep throwing away the water. But if you don't get to the root cause, which is the leak in the boat would still sink. And that's exactly what allopathy does with us. We keep taking medicines all our life, and eventually we have something else. We have another disease, to take care of. But that's not exactly how Ayurveda looks at disease. How Ayurveda looks at disease is that you need to take a check of that leak first. Where is the damn leak? So once you find out where the leak is, plug that hole. Normally, that hole in terms of human body is either with our lifestyle, with our diet, with not exercising, with addictions, with our behavior and our mindset. So all these 5 or 6 factors, or a lot of stress maybe, all these 5 or 6 factors are essentially the things that cause a leak in human body or a disease in human body, which can be taken care of. And that is exactly what epigenetics is all about. In fact, Karan, if you remember, in one of our previous podcasts, I had talked about epigenetics. I spoke about the fact that epigenetics is a small part of Ayurveda. What does epigenetics exactly say, or what does Ayurveda say in terms of Vata, Pitta and Kapha? So, if you see a human body, we are made up of several organs. Now break it down into several tissues from those organs and then into cells, right? So the smallest part of humans being cells. Now, these cells are governed by what we call as DNA and RNAs, right? So DNAs and RNAs, there are 3 types of RNAs. Actually, there are 6, but we normally just see 3. Now, these 3 RNAs are mRNA, rRNA and tRNA. Now, mRNA as per Ayurveda is Vata, tRNA is Pitta and rRNA is Kapha. Now, what is mRNA? mRNA or Vata is nothing but movement in the body. When we say movement, it talks about movement of your blood, or it can be movement of your nervine system. That is, you get a burn here, immediately the nerves tell your brain that there's a burn and you have to move your hand away. So that is also Vata, any kind of movement. Your heart beating is also Vata, okay? So when you have your mRNAs sending a signal to a cell of a body, there are 200 types of cell in your body. Now, when your RNAs, like this mRNA, sends a signal to your cell and says what it's supposed to be doing or supposed to communicate or move or transfer, Now, that is the function of Vata or mRNA. Okay, I hope I'm being clear.
Yeah.
Does that make a lot of sense now? Because otherwise it becomes very difficult for normal human beings to understand the meaning of Vata.